Today on Ballistic Burgers, I'm going to be cooking up Skyline chili cheeseburger. Let's get going. Skyline Chili started out in Cincinnati, Ohio, selling coney dogs. The restaurant kind of blew up, and now there's locations in Ohio, in Florida, Indiana, and maybe a couple other states. It's a really, really good chili with kind of Greek immigrant origins. Not too long ago, I did a copycat recipe of their coney dogs, making the chili homemade. And I utilized a copycat that was online, and I also bought some of their chili, so I had something to compare the copycat to. I ended up tweaking the amounts, the measurements in the copycat recipe, and I also added some ingredients that I found lacking in the copycat. And I came up with, I think, is probably one of the best copycats of Skyline chili that are out there. So I'll link my Skyline copycat video on this video, and I'll also have the recipe down in text in the ingredient or the description box down below. So make sure you check it out. But it might help to watch at least the part of that video where I'm making the chili, because there's some procedures and some steps that are important to actually see. Anyway, what I'm going to do is use that chili, and I'm going to make a Skyline chili cheeseburger. They don't have these on their menu, but they do promote using their chili on hamburgers. So we're going to do that. We're going to do it right now, and we're going to kind of keep it to that Skyline vibe as far as the way it's going to be dressed. Let's hit the griddle. Here's my burger patty. This is 80/20 ground chuck, and I'm just going to season it with a little kosher salt. I'm using my wildfire griddle today. We're running at medium high, and I will not be adding any fat, any oil or anything to the surface, because I actually want this burger patty to kind of bond and stick to the griddle. Let's go ahead and get this down. Now, while it's still cool and while it's still uncooked, I'm going to go ahead and press this down, because I want it to get a crust on there like a smash burger. A little salt. So I mentioned 80/20 chuck. This is a 9-ounce patty. This is pretty darn big. So again, we're going 80/20. There's a lot of fat that's going to be rendering out of this patty. I'll be able to get this to release from that griddle top. But again, I think it's critical to have it stick just a little bit in order to get that really primo crust we're looking for. So what I'm doing right now is just sort of watching the progress of the cook going up the side of the patty here. This is, again, 9 ounces. It's a pretty big, thick patty. And I'm also looking at the surface. I want to see some moisture, some of that water inside this patty starting to come to the surface before I flip. All right, so as you can see, nice progress going up the side, and it's starting to look moist on top. We're going to go ahead and scrape this off, and it is nice and bonded with this griddle top. Okay, stand by. Nice. You see some nice buns here. These are not seeded. I'm just going to kind of let some of this beef fat help me get the nice toast on this buns here, but I'm going to make sure I'm pressing them down a little bit. And also the steam's going to come up through the buns and make them nice and soft. That looks good. And that looks good. I'm going to start prepping the buns here. The patty is almost done. Some mustard on the bottom bun. Then we're going to put some mustard on the top bun as well. All right, patty's done. Get that patty down. Nice. And here's that chili. I heated this up in the house on the stove. Chili is going to go down on this burger. This, I can't even tell you how great this smells. So for this burger, I'm using a blend of freshly grated American cheese and freshly grated white sharp cheddar, which is what I used on my Ballistic barbecue video, this last video I did. It's not what they're using at Skyline. They're using like cheddar, grated cheddar. or American cheese. There's a debate on that actually. Nice. And I'll put some onions down. I actually meant to put the onions down before the cheese, but c'est la vie. Scraping cheese off of chili and adding onions isn't going to happen. I'd have to redo this whole burger, but normally I'd want to put the onions on top of the chili. Anyway, let's crown this beauty. Nice. That looks so good. And here we are, Skyline cheeseburger. This is going to be messy, boys and girls. I can already tell you that. Holy crap. Okay. Wow, it's got some heft to it. Look at that. Bloop. There's a second meal being formed on this cutting board. So good. Patty's really, really juicy. It's very, very juicy. So right off the bat, you know, you're smelling those spices that go into this chili, and you'll look down at the ingredient list. You'll see there's some pretty unique spices in here. Again, very Greek. And the taste is just amazing. Again, that burger is so juicy, and I'm kind of surprised that I'm saying that over the chili right now, but let's break this down. Chili is so good. This is my all-time favorite chili sauce for burgers and dogs now. I made up a few batches of this, and I have them all vacuum sealed in my freezer. This stuff is amazing. I love melted cheese, but there's also something to be said about unmelted cheese, and especially, you know, when it's grated like this, because it's smaller little bites, but it's almost, you're almost tasting the way cheese actually tastes. I mean, melting cheese changes the flavor, I think, just a little bit, definitely the texture. But, you know, there's that burger in Oklahoma. I'm brain farting on the name, but the same with that, you know, and also old school Taco Bell tacos, you know, it has that finely shredded cheese that it works, not being melted. Even though I screwed up by putting the onions on top of the cheese instead of on top of the chili, I'm still getting the onion. I mean, I'm actually tasting the little bits of onion. You know, they're now kind of popping through. So it wasn't that big of a mistake. This is a messy one though, boy. This is not a first date meal, that's for sure. Wow. Anyway, this was good. Oh, I'm going to eat the rest of this. 9 ounces of beef. Whew, that's a big burger. Anyway, yeah, I've had a few requests to make chili burgers, and I think the only chili burger I have, I may be wrong, but is the Tommy's Original, which is a classic out of LA. I cannot understand why Skyline does not have hamburgers on their menu, because I think, I mean, that's a successful business, but I think everybody would love to see a good chili burger on their menu. I'll also tell you, I like this chili recipe better than the one I did on my Tommy's burger. So good. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting the sub button, hitting that notification bell, and thumbing it up if you like it. I really hope you did. It's such a good burger, such a good burger. Keep the suggestions coming in, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.